Well, let's see what David has chosen.
My South African accent. As part of my day job, which is pretending to be other people, I do occasionally have to assume another accent. And usually, with a bit of practice and a bit of time, I can make a decent fist of most of them. But my Beecher's Brook, my Waterloo, is the South African accent. I don't know why it should be. I don't know what it is about it that is elusive to my ear, but I've tried and I've struggled, and I can start off all right, and it's not too bad, but it doesn't take very long, and suddenly I'm from Dudley. So I have to concentrate and try and wrestle it back, but it really can't hold on to it for very long. I just can't do it. I don't know what it is. It defeats me every single time.
Well, we have...
Doctor, I can't stop singing Auld Lang Syne. So the doctor says, I'll have to send you to the Burns unit. Very good. Now, what's wrong with that joke?
Is it absolutely terrible?
Yes, see. Now, any other thoughts? What is all
Well,
right?
no, of course it's not, because Burns Night is not on New Year's Eve, is it? It's on, when is it?
25th of January.
20th, yes.
Yes.
So, of course, you wouldn't be singing Auld Lang Syne and Burns Night. You'd be singing it on New Year's Eve. So
That's true.
You'd be waiting 3
But
weeks.
most people think that Auld Lang Syne was written by Robbie Burns. And, yeah.
Auld Lang Syne wasn't even written by Burns.
That's right. Although a lot of members of the Burns Society believe he wrote it and say that it's nonsense he didn't, he himself said he didn't. He said it was a traditional song that he wrote down.
Really?
Yeah. Auld Lang Syne first comes up in 1724. We see it, and that was 35 years before Burns was born. It's a very popular song, though, in all kinds of places, especially in the Far East. In Japan, it's played daily to mark closing time in most large department stores. So, how did Burns sign himself? What was his name? What did he call himself?
Rabbi.
Not Rabbi, funny.
Robin.
Robin he did, yes. Robin and Rab and Robert, but never Robbie or Rabbi, oddly enough. Although everyone calls him Rabbi or Robbie Burns. Yeah. And there you go. What does it mean, Auld Lang Syne?
Old,
Oh, I know what it
long...
means.
Long
Remembrance?
Signs.
Yeah, kind of old long since. It means in the old days, long time ago. And how do the words go? Anyone who can give me the lyrics gets points.
All the queens be forgotten be forgot for the sake of Auld Lang Syne. We'll tack a couple kindness yet for the sake of Auld Lang.
Oh, yes, 4 points. Spot on. There we go.
In a bid to make sure this never happens again, of course, Lord Strathclyde has announced he's going to do a rapid review into curbing the House of Lords' powers. I'll give you a bonus point if any of you can give me the real name of Lord Strathclyde.
Bunty.
Is it one of those bonkers long names?
Yes, he's called Thomas Galloway Dunlop Duroy de Bleaky Galbraith. Another man of the people.
Well, he's also got product placement in the middle of his name.
Yes.
You just can't trust the Tories.
Did he change his name in wet weather?
Several of the papers identified one clear supervillain in all this. Who was that?
Well, apart from the obvious one.
Who's the obvious one?
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yes. Mega-rich musical gargoyle, Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Musical gargoyle.
He flew in from New York to vote for tax credit cuts. It was his first vote in over 2 years. He's previously voted just 30 times out of a possible 1,898 in 14 years. But he did deny he had flown back specifically for the vote. Does anyone know why he says he was in town?
He was here for an opening of one of his productions somewhere.
A new musical called Cuts.
Yes, he did say he was in town to watch the revival of Cats,
Yeah.
the musical. Yeah. But surely he's seen that already. Or maybe he's just got a bad memory. And now for the odd one out round, it's just one between you this week. A dog in Thailand, Scotsman MP, Judith Strang from Texas, and Damien Green. Yes.
Now, Scott Mann, colleague of Johnny's,
Yeah.
and I believe there was an incident where Johnny actually saved his life from drowning. So I'm guessing that he is perhaps the odd one out in that the other three all float.
Is that right? Did you save his life?
Yeah, I mean, it's just because I thought he had my wallet, actually.
He got sacked from the Tory party, or did he resign?
Damien Green's still an MP. He was Deputy Prime Minister and then had a slight...
There was some porn found on a computer that he had access to, and the other three people featured in the film he was watching.
They've all been rescued at sea, apart from Damien Green, who had to be rescued from a river. He was thrown in as part of a student prank while studying at Oxford University. But more recently, who did Damien Green have a run-in with outside Parliament?
Yeah, so there's a set of protesters that are, like, permanently outside Parliament, so that when anyone goes on TV, they just heckle with quite amusing abuse, to be honest, some of it. But obviously some of it's not. And Damien Green came off an interview and met this chap who's dressed in a European flag and told him that in a contested field, you are by far the biggest here. No. And he was right.
Let's have a look.
Hello, can I ask how you're feeling about the vote yesterday?
No, you can't, because you've just tried to shout over an interview I've done, like you do everyone else.
I didn't. I was singing.
You are the biggest wanker.
Where did this dog end up at sea?
Australia.
Hawaii. Same 5G company we were talking about.
Not quite. It was spotted last week by oil rig workers in Thailand, 135 miles from shore.
Wow.
Who threw that stick?
Wow.
And finally, where did Judith Strang from Texas end up in the sea?
On holiday, was it? On holiday somewhere?
Yes, she was on a tour of...
The fjords.
She was in Iceland. She sat down on some ice which had formed in the shape of a throne and was promptly carried out to sea.
How hot is her arse?
The iceberg incident happened a couple of weeks ago, after which the accident-prone granny completed her tour of Europe with a trip to Paris, where she lit a candle in Notre Dame.
What does Puff the Magic Dragon have in common with Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
Christmas. Lee.
Are they both about drugs?
They're not. A lot of people think they are, but neither is. Do you know Puff the Magic Dragon? Do you know the song?
Puff the magic dragon.
He lived by the sea.
Lived by the sea.
And he
wallowed in the land of Lee.
Oh, very
Puff the magic dragon.
Oh, very good. That's excellent.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the song. Yeah, it's based on an Ogden Nash rhyme called "The Really O Truly O Dragon," and it was a Cornell student, Leonard Lipton, and he gave it to his friend Peter Yarrow, who wrote the song. And Peter Yarrow tells us quite specifically, even if I'd had the intention of writing a song about drugs, which I may have had at a later time, I was 20 years old at Cornell in 1959. I was so square, as was everyone else. Drugs had not emerged. I know Puff was a good dragon, would never have had drugs around him. Now you've heard that from the mouth of the dragon's daddy. It is not about drugs.
He thinks he's the dragon's daddy.
Yeah. And he's not on top.
There is that.
It was going well until the very end.
Do you know the official story of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
Yeah, didn't Julian come home from playgroup with a picture Julian Lennon, that is,
Yeah.
and they said, "What's this?" And he said, "It's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Brilliant. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
The
Well,
very
you've written
time-
the old song.
No, he'd done a painting.
Bloke upstairs going, "That's my job!
He stole my painting!
Get me a pen!"
Christ. No, he'd done a... Little Julian...
I've got Lucy up here!
Oh, God. Little Julian had painted a picture of a girl surrounded by stars, and it was his friend Lucy in playgroup. And John said, "What's that, then?" And he said, "It's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
That was the older brother that spoke like that.
Yeah.
We've been through it.
And,
Julian, what's
yeah, according to interviews with Lennon and the other Beatles, they didn't notice that the initials spelled out
LSD. Yeah.
until after the record was released. Until 2008, it was legal to smoke what I'm talking about in Dutch coffee shops, but now they've changed the law. So what is it? Yes.
Tobacco.
He's clever. He's right. We thought you might say cannabis, but you're too smart.
No, they don't mind you smoking that. They encourage it.
Yeah.
I went to Amsterdam when I was 19 years old, and I don't do drugs, and I'd never done drugs, and I sat in this cafe, and everyone was smoking, and genuinely, I said, no, I'm not going to touch that, I'll just have a piece of cake. And I ate this cake, and then someone said, "You know what's in
It's a
that,
hash
don't you?"
brownie.
But I thought that was the same way as you have, like, brandy and trifle or something. I thought it's not going to get you drunk. It's just a little jokey thing they say. So I had one. I said had no effect. I'll have another one. So I ate another one, and then 2 o'clock in the morning, I accused the taxi driver of trying to kill me.
No, you're right. The point is, it leads to rather bizarre situations. If you mixed your cannabis with tobacco in a coffee shop, you would be fined.
Well, that's what they used to sell.
So you can only have pure...
Silly mix or...
Not since July 2008. Now you have to smoke your cannabis as pure cannabis in grass or hashish form, I suppose.
So you can't get passive smoking from pure...
No, it's fantastically carcinogenic. It's much more carcinogenic than tobacco.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It's 7 times more or something.
Oh, sure, really.
So here it is.
Well...
3 joints, that's 20 fags.
Oh, my goodness. But in the street, if you were to smoke... You could smoke tobacco in the street, but if you were to mix it with cannabis, you'd be breaking the law by doing that.
Yeah,
so it's a very
and you don't know
complicated
whether
system.
to go indoors or out.
But magic mushrooms,
Magic mushrooms.
or a version of magic mushrooms, since you're talking about drugs, the fly agaric, which is that sort of like the mushroom you get in a fairy tale. You'd see a little
Toasty,
elf
like a big cheese
sticking
toasty.
on it. It's sort of red with white spots on it.
Yeah.
The fly agaric in Siberia was eaten by the reindeer, and so the reindeer would eat this fly agaric and they'd bounce around.
Off their face.
And that is where they reckon the legend of flying reindeer came from.
Oh,
For your
that's
Christmas
a
edition of QI.
Christmassy
There you
story. Thank you,
The
David.
drug-addled reindeer. Old
And
Siberia.
then, because it's highly toxic to humans, so they would collect the reindeer urine and drink it and get a secondary
Buzz.
Hit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
brilliant.
then you could drink the wee of the man that drunk
Yeah.
it. Just a mild sort of nice feeling.
Eventually, it would come down to a tiny little, just a cube, isn't it? And they would pop it in your drink, and it'd be like a little sort of Pro Plus.
Osmonds. Aren't they lovely?
They all married to each other. Is that?
They're Mormons.
Oh, right.
They're members of the Church of Latter-day Saints, I think they call them. And what teeth?
Beautiful.
They were rubbish.
Were they? Oh, they?
Apart from little Jimmy Osmond, he was a long-haired lover from Liverpool.
Yeah.
And of course, it was Big Graham Osmond, the one they kept in the attic.
Who had terrible teeth.
He had one massive
yellow
like a
teeth.
claw.
Yeah.
But he wrote all the songs. By groaning them, he groaned them into a tin can that was connected by a piece of string.
Wild horses, crazy horses.
They're very bad. And
Hey, roses!
What was that, Graham?
Bring me another wife!
My wife!
I'm allowed up to 9, Bill Bailey said! Bring her up 4! I've only got 8! I'm allowed to have many!
Behave. Pull yourselves together at once. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
What a great idea. That's a great idea for an episode of Doctor Who, isn't it? Doctor Who goes into the attic and finds the elderly secret brother of the old... And that's how they kill off David Tennant. Imagine that.
Nobody's supposed to... Is that the plot of the Christmas show?